Good afternoon. So this will be I would say, continuation video to both the video from yesterday regarding Titanland, and also in some way it's continuing the same theme that is of the general summary that I conducted this morning. I will explain. It will not be a complicated video. I will not use very complicated ideas or terms. I will just plainly and simply outline how I see reality unfolds, both in the actual sense and both in the ethical sense, how it is going to unfold from now after the change in my goals. The change that was drastic, but also, as I said, predictable, because for how long can you wait until someone will move arms and legs? I have duty towards my daughters. I cannot let them go in a tyrannical world, subjected to unbelievable pain and humiliation until someone will move arm or leg. No, at some point it was predicted that we cannot continue. So this change from the request of rescue of me and my daughters to another place, the change to a new agenda of creating our own safe space here, right where we are, is predictable, and this requires a little bit of explanation of how do I see reality right now. And again, it will not be. I'm not going to say something that will be groundbreaking. If anyone is new to this channel and completely clueless and didn't hear nothing, know nothing, I should say that I was born in Ers in 1984. I grew up in Tel Aviv. My whole biography was presumably completely normal, despite outside of the fact that I was never Homo sapiens, and this was hidden for me and still is hidden for me. But starting 4.5 years ago, I've discovered that it's actually the case. And since then, I try to, I'm in a journey of discovery, 4.5 years. I'm close to 40. So, until the age of 35, I lived a complete life as Israeli, except in the military. I described my life at length in various outlets, so it's not the place. Just to say that for people that are completely new to everything and don't know who is this creature, where did he come from, so I'm Noam David, Israeli, served in the army, even as an officer, studied in the Hebrew University. I have a biography. I have everything. My biography is real. Nothing is faked. I'm not a fake person. Nothing is faked about me. I worked in real jobs, I'm a software engineer, and I got married. I got divorced. I had 2 daughters, and I still have them. I raised them in shared custody until they were taken from me almost a year ago. But I was, presumably, to my knowledge, I was completely normal Israeli. So there is nothing so I just, so you understand that, you don't need a translator to understand me. I'm pretty clear. And I would say that, you wouldn't get any other alien representative, which is, I'm not saying that I'm the nicest alien in this universe, but probably you wouldn't get a representative or a messenger that is more communicative, that is easier to communicate with him. It's quite I allow myself to guarantee you that. From the aspect of how easy it is to communicate with the alien entity, you got the easiest test in the world. You were expected to at your stage of development and education and technology, you were expected to pass this test of how to treat aliens, even if the representative would looked completely different than you, barely knew, speaks a language that you wouldn't even understand if this is actually a language, that you will doubt even if he's sentient or intelligent. Even that kind of creature you would expected not to eat him and torture him. But no, from the communication perspective, there is not simpler test. The easiest test possible, and you received 0 out of 100 points. Just to say how you treated first contact. this is kind of like an introductory to people that are completely new, and I mean, they ask themselves, I mean, do we need like a cultural translator to know, I mean, who is this person? I mean, my English is not perfect, but I mean, I rather speak English than Hebrew because first, I mean, more people understand English, and second, I'm at the point that I'm sick of even hearing Hebrew, even though it's the language of my thought. I cannot hear this language. I'm conditioned against that after so many years of lies. So many years that I start to hear Hebrew, I understand this is lie. This is deceit. Search for the deceit. Anyway, so what's my outline right now? First of all, we mentioned Leviathan, we mentioned Thomas Hobbes. So maybe I mentioned the American Civil War. So maybe I will have a few words on the issue of how I see this kind of, like, I mean, project, this new project from the international relationship point of view. This is not alien invasion, and I'm not alien. I was born in Earth. Presumably, I'm an Israeli citizen. No one tells me otherwise. I'm subjected to, I mean, to legal procedures. I mean, just like any other Israeli. While at the same time, the people of this Earth, not only Israel, abuse me without end because of my nature. Because my nature is different, and they know how to abuse me in an unbelievable way. Both me and my daughters. So some people ask, I mean, why don't you go to Venus? I mean, if you control the gate, you can go to Venus, I mean, and live your life there. And you've said it, I mean, you believe, like, in the uplifting of cultures, and that you people have done it in Earth. So, I mean, go to Venus, that's your place. And take the Venusians with you. I mean, we don't want these creatures. You say yourself that they are criminals, most of them, if not almost all of them. So take your criminals with you and go to your place. I mean, what do you say? What do you want from us here? So first, I will answer. First of all, this is extremely hypocritical. You are the ones that want the Venusians in here. That's why you kidnap them and you torture them and you enslave them. And you, of course, you want me here because that's why I'm still alive. Otherwise, I would be murdered long ago by the Israelis. I'm still alive because they want me, they need me in order to generate artificial, or better say, laboratory-created radioactive isotopes that they sell to all over the world. They don't want me in Venus, they want me in jail or in mental asylum. That's where they want me. That's what they want me, in jail or mental asylum. They don't want me dead. They want me to be kept like locked in a cage while they treat me like a farm animal, worse than that, where I don't see the light of day, and I mean they take my flesh and blood from it in order to make radioactive isotope from it, to sell it to all sorts of places, first of all to the United States. This is the agenda of the Americans. The Israelis have no sovereignty. Of course, this is all mandated by the Americans, by the United States of America. And to some extent, this is also true to the Venusians. It was always true to the Venusians. This is first. So this is very critical. You don't really want us out of here. Second, and even more important, I do not consider myself a Venusian because I've never been in Venus in my life. And my biology is not that of Venusian. And I don't know why you think that I'm Venusian. I'm certainly not a Venusian. I mean, there are objectives, like, I mean, it's not that difficult to, I mean, you don't need to be like, I mean, it's not like, in Blade Runner that, I mean, that the humans and the replicants are almost exactly the same, and you need presumably, the electron microscope to see the place in their skeleton where there is kind of, a markup like of a number that will, that they are replicants. It's not like that. I mean, yes, all these creatures, I mean, look the same, Venusians and humans and cherubs, but there is like an invention that is called the microscope, and you've already like discovered it some time ago. You don't need you don't even need like a very complicated one. Like, I mean, you don't need an electron microscope. You don't even need a very good, high quality optical microscope. You just need. I would say in order to differentiate between humans, Venusians, and cherubs, it's enough like to have the microscope of Anthony van Leeuwenhoek, the first, like, I mean, the father of microbiology from 350 years ago. It's enough. That microscope was enough in order to identify between the three. So it's not that difficult, like, that, I mean, that these are not the same creatures. You just need a microscope. It's not that, I mean, the simplest one that you have, that doesn't matter. Backlight microscope of the first like design that was used by Anthony van Leeuwenhoek is enough. Is the fact that people are still, I mean, wondering if this is human or this is evolution, is because they don't want to know the truth. They just don't want to know. They want to dictate the truth, because this is how intelligence services work, especially in Israel, but in every totalitarian state, and to some extent in every state in general in Earth. That the intelligence services, they want to dictate truth, not to know the truth. They want to set the truth, not to discover the truth. It's not difficult to know if this person is Venusian or Terran or Cherub. It is true that, I mean, yes, you need an invasive, I mean, kind of like, I mean, you know, test is required, and it's not always, I mean, something that you can mandate. I mean, especially in a democratic society, to every predecessor that exists. But even then, I mean, there are other methods too that are much less invasive. Specifically, I mean, you can test the cornea and the iris, and this can be done non-invasively. Even it can be done without the knowledge of the person, like, I mean, in some circumstances, I mean, to some extent. I mean, as much as the camera, I mean, is close to the eye, I mean, you will get like better results. But even like from this distance, I mean, with a good camera, I mean, this distance of like a typical person that holds like a phone, with a good camera, you can, even without the knowledge of the person, and maybe there is also such an app is, maybe such an app is actually, you know, installed in every iPhone and like Android in the world, and without people knowing. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if this is the case. But presumably, I mean, it might be already the case that, I mean, every iPhone and Android in the world, such a software is actually, I mean, deployed. That, I mean, alerts that the authorities, whatever, I don't know, in China, United States, or whatever. I mean, the person that holds the phone is actually Venusian, because I mean, it requires like a camera that is actually you don't have in every phone. But I mean, if it's not yet, I mean, possible, it will be. I mean, it's really like on the verge of it. Like, I mean, because I mean, the issue is like how close you have the camera to your eyes, but you don't need like a super high level, like, I mean, photography, and it's very easy. Like, I mean, if you have the iris and the cornea, or even one of them, or one of it is enough. Mostly, not in all circumstances. I discussed it in other videos, so let's not get into it. Now, regarding cherubs, it's more difficult actually. Like, it's difficult to identify a cherub in a non-invasive way. But I mean, cherubs have like, I mean, tremendous amount of their neurons, the robots in their body. So I mean, every piece of sweat, I mean, spit, like, I mean, pee, I mean, every liquid that, I mean, blood, semen, every piece of liquid that you can get from my body, like even a bit of sweat, I mean, contains the neuro, these robots. So I mean, it's also, I mean, presumably invasive, like to get someone's sweat. But I mean, intelligence services of this world, they have done like worse thing than, I mean, take someone's sweat without the knowledge. So there is not that problem. It's not a problem to know what's the type of the person. It's not that too complicated, and you can do it positively, not like the way that Israelis are doing it by conducting behavioral tests on the street. Presumably, I mean, you know, they have all sort of, I mean, voodoo ways, like, I mean, grandmother, like, you know, concoction, like how to identify the Venusians. I mean, this is just a witch hunt, of course. It's incredibly cruel and stupid. So, back to the question of why don't you go to Venus? My framing of this, of what's going on right now, is that of a person that is part of a state, a civilian, that at some point understand that he can no longer live in such a place where the legal system is so against him. And again, the legal system is not what's in the books, but what's actually is going on. The nomos in the general sense, like the Greek sense, like, I mean, of all the laws and the behaviors of the various branches of the government that are applied to the person. This is the real law, like how people are actually acting towards you in the streets, and what you can do to stop them or cannot do it all. And so a person, I mean, this, I think, is a staple of any kind of, it's actually, I mean, it's written in the Declaration of Independence, the American Declaration of Independence, and I wholly supported that I mean, that people have the right to rebel against their sovereignty if they feel that, I mean, the laws of the land are, I mean, incredibly cruel towards them, then yes, they have like natural right to rebel against it and to start another place, another state, but just where they are. They don't need to move a meter. This, I mean, in other words, this is, I mean, this statement is integral part, even like a large part of the American Declaration of Independence. And yes, I completely agree. If you, I mean, feel, you and other groups of citizens feel that, I mean, that you are civilians in place and you obey the law, but the law is abysmal, is so against you. I mean, the law allows like other people to eat you alive and to eat your children and to do cruelties to you. It is your natural right, or I mean, right given by God. I mean, if you wish, like, I mean, of course, I believe in God, I mean, wholeheartedly. So I mean, I also, I mean, articulate it or think about it like as a right that was mandated by God, but it's not that incredibly important for this purpose. I mean, you can like understand it. I mean, interpret it as like a natural privilege or natural right of a person, of a civilian to rebel against this oppressive state and to start a new one. And this is how I see my situation. I live in, I obeyed the law all my life. Needless to say, I don't have any criminal record at all, nothing. Of course, I've served in the military in very like high rank, like, you know, high quality, like a profession, a respected profession. I was an officer. I served close to 6 years. I studied in university, like in the best kind of like, you know, the best kind of, like, you know, the bachelor degree that you can think about. Of course, I worked as a, you know, as a software engineer, paid the taxes, done everything, you know, everything according to the law. But according to the law, people can infect me with diseases that they have in order to clean themselves from it. This is the law of the land. They do it all the time. They can do it to make daughters without asking us and without giving us nothing in return. This is the law of the land, and this was done. They infect me and my daughters with diseases without us knowing, in order to clean themselves from it. They can do it because we are not Homo sapienses. But the issue of Homo sapienses, I mean, any person in his right mind would say that, I mean, the nature of the relationship between a person and the state is not governed by their biology. I mean, even the most racist, like, I mean, like thinkers in the history did not dare to claim such a thing. And of course, I mean, we mentioned the American Declaration of Independence. Nowhere in the Declaration of Independence it is stated that these things are only for Homo sapienses. And you need to be insane to think that if these people, I mean, would have been aware of the possibility of non-Homo sapiens that live as civilians, I mean, so that they would have written that it's different for them. I mean, you need to be insane to think like along those lines. Of course, they would have told you that what does it even matter if they're civilians? They're civilians. The issue is the connection or the relation between the civilian and the state, not the biology of the person. Again, even slave owners would have told you that. And many of them were actually slave owners, the people that actually signed the Declaration of Independence. But even slave owners wouldn't like dare to tell you that the relationship between the state and the civilian is mandated by the biology. It doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense. If you have a right to rebel against if you're a civilian and you have the right to rebel against like the sovereignty, what does it matter? What is your biology? It doesn't matter anything. It doesn't make sense to matter at all. I mean, maybe you can say, if you are really racist, you can say, I mean, that some like biologies, races or species cannot be civilians. And this was actually the truth in the history of Earth. And of course, this is, I mean, bona fide racism, and it's disgusting. But I mean, nobody says that. They never told me, I mean, you are an alien, you cannot be civilian. On the contrary, they told me, yes, be civilian, serve in the military, study like, you know, any other civilian, get married, you know, with rabbinical authorities, like, you know, a bona fide Jew, I mean, you know, Israeli Jew. Everything was done as if I am a civilian all my life. So I am, de facto, I'm a civilian. And again, even the most racist people wouldn't say that such a civilian, I mean, should have a different relationship with the state if its biology is somewhat different. This is ridiculous. So yes, I apply this principle on me, and all of this issue is not related at all to Venus. If Venus was deleted from the solar system at any point during my life or before my life or right now, none of what I say would have been different. None of it. This does not relate directly. It does not relate to the planet Venus at all. Again, at the current time, it's even more so than ever that there is no relation, because they want me not only but primarily for the energy issue, and this is not related to Venus. It's related to all sorts of things that happened in Earth. But again, cherubs and humans were, they had like relationship since like thousands of years, and this was never, Venus was never really, something that was, until the 20th century, it was never like, the center of like the relationship. No, it's not like that. Yes, it's true, and I've only understood it very lately that the solar gates, like the portals, they require they require the presence of a cherub in the land in order to be open. But it should be said that the exact details of this kind of a presence is, first, I admit that I don't understand it completely, and because I don't understand it, I'm manipulated by the Israelis for so long. Like, throughout most of my life, I wasn't aware of all of these issues, so they could manipulate me any way they want. But I admit to this point, I don't completely understand the rules, and maybe even they don't understand it. So they keep trying to manipulate it, and I try to resist it. But it should be said that, these details are actually, they were changed throughout like history. Even as they were changed during the 1980s, but maybe even like after. They were changed by me very recently, but before that they were changed during the 80s, and they are changed from time to time. Because the specific details, are set by circumstances. But yes, whoever placed the gates in place understood that, in order to use it, the two sides, like the Venusians and the Terrans, are not mature enough, so they must use it only if there is like an adult present. So that was kind of like, the reason, like, behind like the general sense that, yes, there should be like a more mature alien representative like around the gates in the general sense in order to use it. That's why they were not used to the full extent that they could have like used throughout history, because there was not always like the cherub, and not always around. Maybe there was cherubs like in India, I don't know, or whatever, or in North America, or I don't know where, in Australia, I don't know what they've done. Like, but the specific details are actually changed, and to be honest, they are not incredibly important. Again, along the lines of what I've said in the last couple of days, I understand that these gates are a huge part of of the subjugation, but it shouldn't be. There should be no mistake. The problem is not the gates. The problem are humans. Humans are assholes, and humans should be stopped, not the gates. And every kind of trick that could be done to open it or to close it at a specific point of time, and such tricks were done by my predecessors. And I admit that I thought a lot about these kind of tricks. And to some extent, I'm still part of this sick game of like, is it open, is it closed? I admit that I'm also part of this game, but as time passes, I understand, and I already told you that, my audience, that I had enough of these sick games. There is only one important question: whether the gates should exist or not. And the answer is yes, they should exist because they might serve good purposes. So humans are abusing these gates. So the answer is very simple. So humans should go to the next level. Mostly hell. Some will go to heaven, but there will be none in earth. This is the correct solution to the problem. Not like internally mingling with the mechanics of the gates, even though it can be done. Like the Neros are the robots that they are what you call the T. There's the robots that are the subject of this channel, and the main topic of the channel. They build the gates, and presumably they are gates. They are. It's not presumably. It was proven under the microscope that they are gates. They have their very complicated language. And this language, allows you to all sort of imitation on the gate. How many people could be there? Should there be a cherub over there? Should it be like a man or a woman? Do you need like the moon to be full, or not to be full at all? Or do you need like I don't know? Or did you already pass through the gate? Or are you infected with a specific microbe or not? Or I don't know how many are. Do you need to wear a hat? Do you need to wear a tie? Do you need to walk with a cane? I don't know. I don't know what presumably, I'm always discovering like new layers of this language. It supports so much like things. Should it be? I mean, should there be like a spaceship around? Should there not be a spaceship around? There's so many possible conditions, and I'm only starting to discover it. But I mean, so yes, the support is. I mean, yeah, this is a very rich language. But I mean, I'm sick of it. Really, I'm sick of it. Like I mean, I've had enough of it. I mean, intellectually it's interesting, but from practical sense. The solution needs to be swift. Like, I mean, do you need the Earth? Like, do you need to wipe them off the face of the Earth, which is also possible? Or do you want them to be here? And the answer is, I want them to be here because there might be good reasons to use them, and they are ancient, and you can build new ones, but this requires a lot of energy. And this amount of energy might not be easy to master, like I mean, currently it's probably not that very difficult, but I mean, it's not always very easy to get the required amount of energy. So better keep them open if you want them open, or if you think that, I mean, not open, I mean, keep them there. So if humans, I mean, they show, I mean, for like more than 100 years, they show they cannot, I mean, live with this gate without, I mean, eternal abuse of like the other people that are on the other side. So humans should stop exist. That's the solution. Not, I mean, keep like, I mean, this kind of like, I mean, endless tinkering of like, I mean, of, and again, I do not like, I mean, I don't want to sound condescending because this is something that my predecessors have done, and I myself like, thought about quite a bit in doing the last couple of months. But I mean, I've had enough of that. Like, I mean, should there be one care or two? Should there be adult or not? Should there be maybe one adult or two children? I mean, enough of that. Enough. There should be no Nazis on the land. That's the problem. The Nazis are the problem. There should be only one law regarding the usage of the gates. It must not be used if there are Nazis in the land. And this law should be enforced not by eliminating the gates if there are Nazis on the land, by eliminating the Nazis from the land. This is the solution. There should be no Nazis on the land when the gates are used, and when they are not used, there should also not be no Nazis on the land. And if there are no gates at all, then there also should be no Nazis at all on the land. And you know what? Even if there is another planet that never was any gate existed over there, I will say that even that planet there should be no Nazis on the land. That's my laws, like I mean, my corpus of laws regarding to the gates. That if there are gates, there should be no Nazis. If there are no gates, there also should be no Nazis. This is the law of the land. There should be no Nazis. So this is how I see. I mean, the foundation, the moral foundations of my new project. The fact that I am a civilian of Israel, I was a civilian of Israel all my life, was born in civilians, raised a civilian, I've done all my duties, and this state is the law of the land, whether it's written or just, I mean, you know, acted upon, doesn't really matter. But because you can argue, I mean, forever, I mean, whether these people are doing what they do, I mean, within the boundaries of the law or not. Because the law does not, I mean, acknowledge the fact that there are not Homo sapiens here. So how can the law even, like, I mean, but this is part of the cruelty that, I mean, that it's not acknowledged that this abuse can be done. So it is done. And not only that, that it is mandated and managed by the Shabak, and also the Mossad, and I mean, the most powerful bodies in Israel, that, I mean, they have the right to do whatever they want to you. Of course, you can debate about it because presumably there is like Chok Shabak, but in reality, they do whatever they want. And again, this reality is the true law of the land. This is the normos. So, I'm a civilian. I was born in here, and according to the law of the land, people can like take my flesh and blood from me. They can abuse me without end. They can make me poor. They can make me their mattress. They can do whatever they want to me. This is absolutely abysmal law. And I have all the right to rebel against the land, to start a rebellion. That's what I do. I rebel against the state of Israel, and I declare a new land, a new sovereign entity. And it starts from myself. I admit that this group of civilians just currently consists only of myself. And of course, my daughters, but they are not grown-ups. I'm the only grown-ups in this group. Maybe others will join in the future, and maybe not. Doesn't matter. currently there is a group that rebels against the state of Israel because their laws are unbelievably cruel. And this is the framework of what I do. It's not in all I mean, it does not, none of it depends on Venus and Venus at all, not even a bit. That's what I do. I rebel against this Nazi state. I declare another state. And the territory of the state is I mean, all over the current territory of Israel, all over the place. This is the territory of the place of the new Titanland. So that's how I see it, and that's how it's going to be.